Yeah, a lot of things happening, a lot of growing pains in 2019, going through the bear market, and a lot of, not the best news for cryptocurrencies, but it's definitely, I think, going to shape how the space is going to progress from here on out.
Well, 2019 has been an extremely colourful year in the crypto space. Now, my next guest you might recognise as the popular YouTube and content creator Crypto Tips or Crypto Heidi. Heidi, great to talk to you today.
Hi, thanks, Jessica. Thank you for having me.
You're really welcome. And I just want to ask you, because 2019 is slowly coming to an end and it's been a very interesting year for the crypto space as a whole. You do provide content for amazing projects like Dash. What has stood out for you so far this year?
Well, there has been a lot of things happening in 2019. It started off with a lot of centralized exchanges letting us down, unfortunately, in the form of like Cryptopia getting hacked and losing their funds, mismanagement of their funds. That Canadian exchange Quadriga, unfortunate event with the CEO and his mismanagement of securing the funds of people. And it's kind of like been this pattern of how centralization is failing people in this space. And so I think that will influence what is developed in the future because more people are being affected by that. Also, there was a lot of hype of like institutional investors entering this space, a lot of hype of Backed being launched. And unfortunately, I think that was a little bit of a letdown for people as well, with the kind of hype that was built on the crypto side of it, but maybe not on the institutional side of it. They probably weren't as eager to enter the space as we would have hoped. Obviously, we've seen a lot of governmental regulations and attention being paid to the crypto space. Thanks to Facebook trying to launch their Libra coin, and some fear of people thinking that Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies who are doing it proper are being lumped in with Facebook coin or with Libra. Yeah, that's a lot of developments. Also, some fear tactics. It sounds all bad, but I think that it will lead us to understand better how things will form in the future. Like, for example, Tether. There is a lot of information coming out about Tether and its mismanagement of funds. But with Tether specifically, I want to talk about how it kind of proves that it doesn't really. We've seen this also in other like altcoins or smaller cap coins, that there's a lot of hype around the idea of it, and that even though it might not be the most solid project or the most promising, people are going to invest in anything that they think will make money. And similarly, that with Tether, it serves a purpose, and that is to provide a stable coin. And despite all of the information that has come out about Tether, it still is very dominant in the stablecoin space. And it's actually also, I think, inspired a lot of other stablecoins to sprout up as well. So yeah, a lot of things happening, a lot of growing pains in 2019, going through the bear market, and a lot of, not the best news for cryptocurrencies, but it's definitely, I think, going to shape how the space is going to progress from here on out.
A lot of things have happened. I think you're right in saying it really does feel like it's kind of been 3 years in the crypto world and one normal annual year for everyone else. You mentioned Tether there. Have there been any other projects that really have stood out for you? You travel a lot all around the world. Have you come across any potential use cases maybe that have stood out for you and impressed you along your journey?
Well, I really try to stay away from speaking about like dropping names of like specific projects, because I think it's much more important to pay attention to like different aspects or ideas that projects are pursuing. And because part of it is me trying to encourage people to do their own research instead of just investing in something just because I happen to mention it, to really try and invest your time and energy into understanding what will prove to be important and how that can be accomplished. So for me, paying attention to projects throughout this bear market that have kept their nose to the grindstone despite like maybe a lack of boost in funding. So like their GitHubs have been very active, their network and their communities are still very active. Projects that continue to improve their network security, because as governments are wanting to step in and cryptocurrencies are getting much more globally recognized, I think the state of their decentralization and their governance models and the overall security of their network, preventing any one person or entity to control it, will prove to be very important. Also, privacy. I know that's kind of unfortunately getting a bad rap. Like, only guilty parties should be worried about privacy, but I think that's going to continue to evolve in the future also, where people will actually be forced to value that. But so I know you mentioned before that I do the weekly videos for Dash, and that is a project that I do very much value. It's something that I actually haven't covered on my own channel because they have such a solid team kind of doing that already. I didn't really think that they needed my help on my own channel, but I was happy to contribute what I could for their weekly informational videos. But that is a project that is following through on those things that I mentioned before. They have their chain locks that help prevent 51% attacks. They have instant send, so very fast transactions. They have privacy layers with their masternode services. And they are, like you said, use cases. They are providing so many services for people in Venezuela, and they're sprouting out through Europe and starting to get into Southeast Asia. So that's one example. They're not the only one that are doing good things and developing, aspects to their network to provide real services for people. But so I think continually, what is going to prove to be important is privacy, network security, and governance models. Because I actually talked a little bit about a recent video about quantum computing, and unfortunately for those networks that, for example, Bitcoin, whose network or whose algorithm might be in the very distant future threatened by quantum computing, they would need to be able to come to a consensus to change the algorithm and avoid a contentious hard fork. So governance models, privacy, and network security, those are very core features that cryptocurrency, this whole world was kind of developed out of. And as it is getting tested over time, different pressures, those will continue to be important. So that's what I'm going to highlight in that question.
And you've really made a good point that I think any projects that have survived 2019, because it has been a tough year in the industry, and also have maintained those three core values that you've mentioned, do deserve a pat on the back, because it's not been an easy year at all. One video that you did release on your YouTube channel just recently, I think it was a few days ago, was the one-on-one on cryptocurrency countries and countries that are working with cryptocurrencies, or at least have approved it in some way. Now, one of those was Malta. So we are set to see you at the AIBC Summit in November, and you will be doing some interviews and filming. What kind of things are you looking out for when you do come to Malta? We're really excited to meet you and see you on the ground.
Yeah, this is actually going to be, I'm just going to say, the first crypto conference I've been to. I've been to a few for steamit.com, but that was pretty much just like a community building kind of thing. So this is, I'm really interested to see, I know there's a lot of people who do like the crypto convention circuit, so that are well versed in this. So I'm definitely kind of entering this with like new eyes. I'm really excited to talk to people in person, see their passions, understanding better artificial intelligence and how it can be applied to blockchain technology, how they can work together, how people are building on that. It's something that I definitely need to learn more about. So I'm just going into it like a sponge and kind of being inspired by who I see speaking and try to better understand their perspectives and their passions.
Well, you won't be disappointed. There's plenty of people that I'm excited to introduce you to that you'll meet along the way. Heidi, thank you so much, and we'll see you in November. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you.
Thank you, you too. Well, that's all from myself and Heidi. We'd love to hear how you found this segment. Will we see you in November? Share your thoughts on YouTube in the comments below.